and volume. So we are in. Yes, we're live.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know what's a dumb meme I've really grown to like?
Yeah?
The Jet 2 holiday meme?
The Jet 2 holiday
You
meme?
haven't seen it? Whenever
No.
it's like okay, I'll send you guys one. It's anyway, someone start the podcast.
I'm really into this, like, this really creative check my new Twitter bio or whatever, or my new header. I can't get this header to fit. I'm enjoying that.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
um
I hate it so much. It's so dumb, Dan.
It is.
What can I say? I have terrible taste in
Alright.
memes.
Well, that's a new Twitter. Can I change the name of this?
Let me make sure
Yeah.
our volumes are.
How do I change the name on here? Dan, start talking. Oh,
Okay.
I see.
Okay.
Here we go.
Sorry. We're good.
Eyes
and we look beautiful.
Wide. Okay, yeah. Hey, it's called Eyes Wide Meme Club. That's our Instagram one.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
And I can send you guys stupid reels now.
There we go.
Welcome,
Welcome
Eyes
everyone.
Wide Watch Club.
There you go.
Whoa.
We're here, gentlemen. We're back. Happy September. Everything is all right in the world, as we all know. But yeah, so I have a big fat glass of wine to deal with such great times that we're in. But yeah, anyway, for the month of September, we're here to talk about a film. It was Remington's pick this month. So, Remington, why don't you take it from here, bud, and introduce the film you recommended, sir?
Oh shit. Fuck. I don't know.
Just like I forgot it was my movie, so I got drunk.
No,
Remington's
I
in the bag.
remember what movie it was. It's I watched The Zombie. So I picked this movie because so generally the theme of this year has been I wanted to do an exploration of genre, right? of different genre films and kind of like totemic examples of what those genres might be, of what genre film might be. So this pick around was I Walked the Zombie, an iconic film in the zombie genre, one of those heavy influences that have influenced auteurs who have come since. It's a 1943 horror film by Jacques Tourneur. And it is about a young woman who is skilled as a nurse who comes to the mythical, fantastical island of Saint Sebastian to serve as the nurse to this wealthy plantation family, because the mistress of the household, she has fallen ill with a mysterious sickness and is about her experiences there. She tries to treat her patient and learns about the mysterious lore surrounding the family, surrounding the islanders themselves, and comes sucked into this mysterious supernatural ongoings. We can talk about how we feel about the film as we go in, but yeah, I wanted to share this with you all as a exemplary film of the zombie genre.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was basically like my first time like really experiencing a film this old.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything. But I'm happy that I saw it because yeah, I don't even have a frame of reference of what movies were like really back in the 40s. All I know is I just love those vintage movie posters.
Oh, you
Uh,
know, everyone's playing this, eh?
oh yeah, sorry, but yeah, no, I love scrolling through the director, I forgot however you pronounce his name, his work, and I do recognize some of his
Jacques
movies,
Cornier.
Jacques Cornier,
Cornell.
but
Cornell.
yeah, I did recognize some of his other titles. Um, never heard about this one though, but I have seen after looking it up a little bit that it does have quite the reputation. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought I watched it twice. I
It's like
was
an hour long.
I was trying to pick up on a lot of the story beats. I was just too stupid to follow the first time around. Exactly like which brother was who and who was married to who, and just little things, and like the mother character. But
Dan's,
yeah,
Dan's like, both these white men are clean shaven and have the same hairstyle.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know who's who.
Exactly. But yeah, no, you know what? In the end, I gotta say, the first time around, I kind of thought, obviously it's made in the 40s, so the zombie aspects of it, I don't even want to say they're lacking. They're not. They're omnipresent, but they're more in the background. It's more of like it ends up kind of really just being a character dynamic thing that we're really focusing on here between everyone. And then the ending of what all was really going on actually genuinely surprised me. And I was like, oh shit, it was this person. But yeah, no, I had a fun time with it. And yeah, but like I said, it was really cool getting to experience something like this old.
What's the oldest film you'd seen prior to this?
This might be the oldest. I've never seen the original like Nosferatu.
No, but like before this, what was the oldest movie you've seen?
Maybe like Citizen Kane. What's Citizen Kane? I don't know.
That's
Citizen
the
Kane
year.
might be slightly older than
It
this.
might be older,
That's like 1940. Yeah,
Yeah,
1940,
yeah, Citizen Kane's
1941.
yeah, dude. 1941. Right?
Oh, okay. Then it's definitely Citizen Kane. I haven't seen anything older than that. No, but
Okay.
this era is like just a zone to me that I have not explored at all. So, but no, it was really cool. There was a lot of little details that are specific to this era that I really appreciated. But yeah. But so
Wait, have you seen Wizard of Oz?
Yes. Oh yeah. I don't even know when's Wizard of Oz. I have no idea.
39.
1939.
39?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. That's why it's a big deal that it was in Technicolor.
Damn, I have no idea. See, anything like you go earlier than the 60s, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on in this. Like
It's all the
anything.
same to Dan.
Yeah, basically, I have no frame of reference. I'm so inexperienced. But yeah, no, overall, it was a really cool experience to like watch something this old. And but.
What about you, Gene? What's the oldest film you had seen prior to this? Since I know you said this was pretty old for you too.
Is The Sound of Music older than Wizard of Oz, or it's not right?
No, The Sound of Music's from the 60s.
Okay, so Wizard of Oz.
Okay, cool.
But what about you, Gene? What'd you think of it?
Oh wait, no, I thought you were. Wait, are you not done?
No, pretty much. Yeah, I mean that's the main gist of it. It was just I enjoyed it like just as a.
Oh, okay. Dan, because this is gonna tie into what I thought about it. Did you know that zombies are like a Haitian folklore thing, like originally?
No, was not aware of that.
Okay, so I was aware of that, so that brought like a nice appreciation for me. So when Remington suggested the movie, and I think we all just read a quick synopsis of it. When I read it, it's like the original zombie definition. Well, I guess Dan didn't catch that, but when I read where it's set and reading about the premise, like I was excited because I had never watched a movie with like the original voodoo Haitian folklore version of a zombie, right? We all are familiar with the George A. Romero version, right?
Mm.
So I had a nice appreciation of that going into it. So seeing that on screen versus like what we know, and even then, if you ever watch what is it Dawn of the Dead, the first one? You watch that compared to like any modern zombie, it's still very different. Like they're the slow shuffling ones, and then it was reinvented with the 28 Days Later, right? And even like Walking Dead zombies that aren't very fast are quite different than like Dawn of the Dead ones. Anyway, it was just nice to see like I appreciated like seeing like, oh, like no one's trying to eat, like they're just like, I guess like the original idea is like you're reanimating this body to like kind of control it, right? The way they used the one character, I forgot his name, the big black dude, for lack of a better description.
Right.
So I kind of went to that with that appreciation and kind of like curious how that would be like used in like the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear horror. So, like, I know about like German expressionism, and I'm sure this movie is probably inspired by that from the 1920s. But to me, horror is still very much like modern horror, or like the big, what was it, the late 60s, early 70s, with like the reinvention of horror, right, with the slasher genre. So seeing this as horror is like, oh, like this is very interesting. What was horror back in the day? I appreciate this movie. And I'll talk about it more in the end in a way. I can't really give it a score, but like I appreciate it versus like, that makes sense.
Right, more than you enjoy it.
Because yeah, like an enjoyment part, I was like, yeah, it's okay. But I appreciate what it's doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Remy?
Remington, what'd you think about it? Was this? I'm assuming this is your first time watching it. I think you mentioned.
No, this is my second time watching it.
Oh, you have seen it
Was
before.
this
okay.
Yes.
What else have you seen from the director?
Just this, I believe. Let me double check. I'd seen this. This is my second time watching this film. The first time I watched it was like 2 years ago. Because I was looking for like like October horror watches, like recommendations and such. And I think it was Turner Classic Movies YouTube channel had put out a like video from like Guillermo del Toro of like his October picks that he would recommend watching during that season. And one of the movies that he recommended was this. And so I threw it on as a bit of a lark, because it sounded good and I wanted to check it out. And I liked it at the time. And so I had seen it at the time. And building on my genre theme, that's why I picked it. And it is like a bit of relevant because we're the zombie genre is in conversation, a bit with what we're talking about here. Yeah, I think this is the only film I've seen of it from this director. I think I've meant to see Cat People, but I've not actually seen Cat People. Yeah, no. So this is my second time watching it. My score actually went up compared to the first time. I actually think this film is like very exquisite in like a lot of different ways. I really like this movie, and we can get into that. But yeah, no, it's a really good film, and that motivated me to share it with y'all.
Yeah,
yeah. It was it was a good watch. I'm glad to have watched it. It's that I can see. So before this, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to read up on it. Were there what were zombie movies? Is there I don't think this was the first zombie movie, right? Were they common? Like, was the director inspired by another zombie movie? Like, what's the context?
This is it's not the first zombie movie, but it's fairly early in terms of like where zombie movies are coming from. So like the first zombie movie is the 1932 film The White Zombie, which stars like Bela Lugosi as the villain.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that is like an adaptation of this like well-known book, and is very much keeping in like the like white slavery tradition, and is doing like fairly similar things compared to this movie, but is doing it in like a more like sensationalist way, and is doing it in like there's like a clear contrast between what that movie is doing, what this movie is doing. But like definitely like that movie is what this movie is like stacking up against. Like if you were a person in 1943 watching this, is what you were comparing it to. And so yeah, like the zombie movie is like still fairly new when this movie comes out. And there are like a couple like contemporary films that happened like a couple years before, a couple years after, like around the same time, around that. But yeah, like the zombie movie is very much in its like infancy when this comes out, essentially.
Yeah. And I mean, so what I'm seeing, it's like, zombie movies back then were just, I mean, on White Zombie real quick, it's kind of, they're always based in Haiti, and it's still very much like, tied into voodoo, and like the idea is you're turning someone into like a mindless zombie, you're kind of controlling them versus, what Romero would revolutionize later on.
Yeah, like the idea is it's like this like exotic form of evil that is like imposed upon the like model white citizen. That's like the impression that's like the idea that's going around in the zeitgeist at that time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, so you said you found this movie exquisite. Like what do you mean? Like, explain.
So to me, like this movie is very excellent as like not only as a form of like expressionist cinema with like the black and white cinematography. I think it just like creates like a very like potent atmosphere that just like carries you throughout. So like you are following this woman as she is going to accept this like outlandish job offer. It's this like distant place, and it's like you can tell that like things are off like at the moment she gets there, and there's like this like intriguing mystery that she's like trying to unravel while she's caring for a patient, and there's all these like strange and disturbing things that happen along the way that build to your idea of like what the central mystery is, and it creates this like thrill and this mystery and this like suspense, and really building all the way until like in some sense the home fort when they actually get there towards the third act of the film, but even towards the very end, where you have this like confrontation between the one brother and the Carrefour, the tall black zombie, at the very end, like it's a very well crafted film that I just think creates like this very excellent like atmosphere that really sucks you in, and that's really what I get from it, because like I would say my first watch was more kind of like I like it but I don't love it, and it's like okay from there, probably more similar to the way that like Dan felt, comparing our scores, but the second time around I was like, oh no, I get what the real ones are saying about this thing, like this is like pretty great. Going in, like I appreciate a lot of what this is putting down, and can really like meet it at its level, so I think this is a pretty good movie in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dan, you go.
Yeah, no, yeah, one of the things, I think a lot of times when we watch like a lot of modern genre stuff, I feel like I'm trying to think of examples, but I feel like a lot of times you'll find yourself like, or people will say like, oh, it's really cool that like this type of movie might be, let's say like just like a zombie movie. Again, I'm like blanking on examples, but like the genre stuff is kind of in the background, or it's kind of like not the main focus. I don't know if this is due to like limitations of filmmaking at the time, but I kind of liked that this movie, the zombie aspects of it were kind of like, especially in the beginning, in the opening parts, like just kind of in the background. We like, obviously in the 40s you're not going to get like a big zombie chase or like 28 years later type of thing, right? Like you're not going to get this big epic thing, So I liked that the movie was more like focused on the dynamics between the characters, and obviously you do get, you know, when they go to where the little drum circle party that they're having in the later half of the movie, that was all really cool and interesting and ominous. Like, it was just very ominous when Betsy first gets to the island, and Wesley is like talking her up, and he's like, "Oh yes, that's just the help in the fields. They're playing their drums, you know, like just these ominous drums. Like, yeah, you know, they ask for rain from the gods." Or so I like that it's a lot of it's just kind of in the background, how Betsy is kind of but a lot of the story is focusing on the dynamic between these brothers and the wife, and kind of what's actually going on and what happened to her. I was getting a lot of Get Out vibes through this movie at certain points, and then there's also like the ominous imagery of their big centerpiece in the plantation courtyard, like used to be the head of a slave ship. So yeah, in the beginning, I was kind of thinking, I just kind of laughing at some of it, because it felt like the Betsy character was like falling in love with Paul for basically no reason, because he's just such a 40s man and just like talking down to her the entire time, which I thought was kind of funny. But I don't know what you guys think of this. It almost feels like by the end, I almost feel like Betsy is meant to be basically just an audience surrogate, more so than her own character, even though she like kind of falls in love with Paul at the end. But yeah, that's kind of just, I don't know, not a good or a bad thing in my eyes, just kind of an observation. But no, I appreciate it in the end, because when it's revealed what the mother had up her sleeve, it kind of almost like a Scooby-Doo like moment of, oh, I'm the one that actually, and this is why, and it all made sense to me, and I was like, oh, I actually really like that, and I love the ending. So yeah.
No, I think you're right. She is an audience surrogate in a lot of ways, because she shows up, and her infatuation with the husband is kind of like similar to what we, the audience, would feel, right? Because it's kind of like, oh yeah, he's this suave gentleman, you know, slight English accent, very proper, and so you know, we are projecting upon her what we feel towards this other character. So that's like, and she is also our window into what's going on this island, and what we're feeling, and what might be, and what could be. So like, she is very much an audience surrogate by comparison. But you know, yeah, she does fall in love with him, though I do think there is something you said about her character. But yeah, no, you're right. She is an audience surrogate. That's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but just like, even like just looking at some of my notes, like just that I took, but just like when the movie opens, and I love like the old timey like opening credits and like the grand music, and it's like the scene, I guess, which is meant to maybe be the end of her walking along the beach with the zombie guy. It all just seems so old timey and classy Hollywood. I really liked that. But there's something, there felt like there was something weird going on with the character of Betsy, because like it felt like she was an audience surrogate at a certain point through the movie. I thought, okay, no, this is more about the brothers and their dynamic and the family, and what happened to Miss Holland and the relationship with the mother. But the whole aspects of Betsy falling in love with Paul, Mr. Holland, I found that all kind of jarring, and I was trying to like, is this just old timey like 1940 sexism? Because I'm like, I feel like I don't know how to interpret a lot of the things that Mr. Holland or Paul says to Betsy a lot of the time, because like, is this supposed to be like a backhanded compliment? I mean, the first thing he says to her, they're on the boat, a lot of dissolve fades in like every scene, which was, well, I'm sure, which is like a 40s thing, which was really funny, or just cool. But when they're on the boat, she goes, "Oh, look at the night sky. It's so beautiful." And she's talking in her head. And it was a little like fourth wall breaky comedy moment where she's doing a voiceover in her head and saying how beautiful it is at this place that she's traveling to. And he just walks into frame and just goes, "No, it's not beautiful." And like pierces her thoughts literally. And he's just like, "Yeah, everything dies here. The fish are scared. Everything comes to die." Like, I was just like, man, he really knows how to sway a woman, doesn't he? So I almost thought at a certain point during the movie, like, she's like, "Oh, I'm falling in love with him," but even though I know he still loves his wife, but I'm falling for him. I'm like, why? Because he's just like,
yeah,
a man.
right.
He's a man in the 40s, and you're supposed to. But,
so part of what's happening here is that like this movie is partly inspired by Jane Eyre.
Okay.
You know, the Bronte sisters, Jane Eyre, which is like a book in classic literature. And so specifically, like the last third of Jane Eyre, where the title character takes up her position as a nanny, serving this like wealthy single father. You know, she is nannying and tutoring his like young daughter, and over the course of doing that, she falls in love with this gentleman, despite the fact that he is like very kind of like misanthropic. You know, he's kind of like shunning out like the rest of society, but she's like, "No, he's good." You know these kind of things. So it's like very inspired by this novel. And so that's kind of like the language that it's speaking in terms of like, oh yeah, there's this mysterious like plantation owning gentleman, and I am someone who has taken a position in his household, and I have kind of like, this like educated, proper young woman, have like fallen in love with him despite being of a slightly lower station, and there's like this drama that ensues because of that. So that's partly like the world in which it's operating in, and why it's happening would have been legible to an audience of that time as like a way of doing a romance. Where it contrasts is with the Bronte sisters, they're doing this kind of story as a way of operating in a more like feminist lens, and also in like a like class commentary lens. Whereas this film, that romance is just kind of there as a tool to explore the like central mystery, right? She's interested in Paul because that drives us into the mystery of like, what the hell happened to his wife, right? What the hell is he up to? What did he know? When did he know it? What did the parties around him know? And when did they know? What did they do? It's a tool that adds to the mystery and thus the suspense that keeps our attention hooked, so to speak. But that's like what it's operating within.
Right. Well, right, because clearly off the bat there's a tension between Wesley and Paul, these two like half brothers, which is definitely like there's some sort of history or backstory there, and they clearly are of some prominence within the community there, owning this big like sugar plantation, and on the island, and right, and you get that first glimpse of it when and it's all again presented very ominously, the way that guitarist sings the song of what was actually what was going on in the beginning, or what happened between the two brothers, where, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know if I have it. So it was Miss Holland, the zombie wife, that hit on the brother. She is what's implied or what's meant to be believed, is that originally it was the wife that hit on Wesley, and that's what drove them to hate each other. I think that's what I think. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Jane?
So yeah, and it ties into it ties into the ending voiceover too. Yeah. So basically, so what is it when that scene where she's having like lunch or whatever with the brother and he's just pounding back rum. Did you like listen to the song that's being played, like that's being sang? Did you pay attention to it, Dan?
Yes, yeah, that's like exposition of,
Yeah.
of it was basically
Yeah.
it was I forget the exact, but it was the implication was that the wife, it wasn't that like Wesley made a move on her. I think the idea was that
Yeah,
she made it.
she's like, but he also does care for the wife, which kind of explains his actions in the movie. And basically, she's seen as like an adulterer in a lot of ways. And the ending narration also kind of like blames, kind of the narration is kind of just like this evil woman who's causing this man a lot of torment.
I do think. I find a lot of this movie very funny in like a charming way of like, it was the 40s, but I do feel like
there were some parts that actually audibly made me laugh.
I was laughing a lot, like not at the movie, just because of the 40s of the time. I feel like by the end, this movie I really, really love the ending of the imagery of when Wesley goes and follows her and the voodoo, the contrast of him taking the sword to her. I actually thought the ending was pretty great. But again, yeah, it's just funny, and skipping ahead a little bit, but the reveal of the mother, the whole thing is basically like this fucking woman came in and was tearing apart my two boys. Like, was basically what it comes
No, but
down
she's also kind of like, I found this really interesting how she's kind of like, yeah, so these like natives, they weren't gonna they're being unsanitary. Like they weren't gonna boil the water for like the milk for the milk for the baby. Was it the milk? Because you can't give it. Fun fact: you can't give it an infant milk. I feel like Remington would know milk. Water. I feel like Remington would know this, but Dan wouldn't because Dan doesn't have children or been around like young. You can't give an infant water or honey. Anyway, so she was kind of like, I kind of just like started giving them like science and medicine under the guise of like magic.
Yeah.
Just kind of like there's a lot of layers to that. But it's like there's that, but also kind of like, yeah, I guess her reasoning. But then she also says, she makes it sound like she was like possessed. Like she says she like heard her voice, but like she kind of implies being possessed, and that's why the doctor is like, oh, your imagination like is kind of going crazy because you're a woman.
Right.
Remington, what did you think?
All right, so what's going on here is all right, so what the movie itself is inspired by a real life article that was like written in the actual news called I Met a Zombie by Inez Wallace. And she was a journalist, and she was sent to Haiti because they were like, are zombies real? And so she went to go do some investigative reporting, and her thing was like, no, zombies aren't real. But when we talk about zombies, what we really mean is people who have, they are addicted to drugs. And so they're like all strung out while they're doing plantation work. And that's what we mean when we say zombies. And that's like what she's talking about and what people are like freaking out about back in the States when we talk about zombies. Like these people who are both alive and dead at the same time. So people who are like high. And so in the events of the film, what's happening here is that essentially you have this society where there are there's the white enslavers, right, the family, and there's all of these black people on the island, Haiti, representative of Haiti, who are all the descendants of slaves who this family had brought over. So what's being described here with the zombies is that they are representative of people that they're supposed to be metaphors for like what slavery and also like this like patriarchal capitalism
Right, colonialism
does to someone. Yeah, and colonialism as well. Does somewhere where it renders you both as like alive and dead at the same time. Right.
Yeah.
You are both alive, you are working, you are doing these things, but you are also dead because you are not truly living up to the freedom of the human spirit, right? You are just in service of whatever this thing that is capitalism, that is patriarchy, that is colonialism demands of you. So that's what's going on here. And then to add another layer is it is also about kind of like white co-optation of this notion, right? So like when we focus on the fact that the wife has been, quote unquote zombified, it's kind of like, well, these white folks who dismiss this idea as like primitive in of itself have kind of like adopted it as like a means of control. They have adopted it and claimed it as their own as like a means of control. And this is like a natural process through capitalism, through what we would call neoliberalism, though such a term did not exist during their day when this movie was made. And it's kind of like saying like, all right, I dismiss this as this like this primitive, fantastical idea that doesn't make sense to me. But if I can use it to control someone, be it the natives, be it my slutty daughter-in-law, it's of utility to me, and like that's where the mom is coming from. That's also kind of where the husband Paul is coming from, where it's like, I like the fact that my wife is like sedated in this way. That means I know that she's not doing anything that I don't approve of.
That argument, right, man?
So that's kind of like what's getting at. The movie as a whole is kind of like critiquing this like form of capitalism, right? Because it's the 40s. You were seeing the last vestiges of like this old world empire that still exists, right? World War II is this transitioning from these like older colonial empires to like the domination of the United States, which is like this like that doesn't need to be going around colonizing places. It can still exert its imperial influence through like soft power. So we're seeing the transition from that previous world to like this new world, and so it's commenting on this old world where you have this like system of imperialism enforced through like capitalism and industrialization, colonialism and such, white supremacy and such.
Yeah. No, and that's all there, especially with the very on the nose imagery of like the slave ship header with all the arrows in it, which I thought was I thought that was again, I don't really have a gauge for what movies in the 40s were like, but yeah, everything you just laid out, it was all there, and I thought, oh, this is like pretty sophisticated, like the story, like the symbolism and the metaphor and the whole like how Wesley at the end, again, I can't stress enough how much I really love that ending of he pulls the arrow out of the slave ship head and then like uses it to end Miss Holland or just put an end to her, put her out of her misery or whatever, and carrying her into the ocean. But yeah, no, there's a lot there that I didn't know. I wasn't sure if movies in the 40s got that deep and metaphorical and all that stuff in there, about the new world and the old world, and I thought it was I really enjoyed all that. There was almost a sense of me too that just listening to everything everything Paul said. I mean, even though like, yeah, he's gentlemanly, like where, and prim and proper, where Wesley's a little bit more of a suave, loose cannon kind of guy, drinks a lot and more smiley and stuff and outgoing. I don't know. It feels like Paul was a very deeply unhappy person, but also I don't know, when he was talking about he was explaining to Betsy like the slave ship head thing with all the arrows in it. I think he says something around the lines. He's like, "See what I was explaining to you? This is a very dark and depressing place with a and it's almost like this. I was almost trying to think: is there some part of him that is kind of condemning like his heritage, or is he just like saying, yeah, it's like this place is just fucking depressing, like, you know what I mean? Is there a part of him that is like condemning it, or is it just like, yeah, all these Haitians, they're just fucking full of dark black magic, and they're all witches. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know which way it was leaning towards, but no, yeah, it was funny. Like there was comments that like every line that Paul was saying was so weird, where I didn't really know how to interpret it. Where I think it was after she brings Miss Holland to the little drum circle thing, and they bring her back. Paul says to Betsy as she's like walking by, he goes, "Do you consider yourself pretty?" And she goes, "Well, I believe so." And then he goes, "Do you consider yourself charming?" And she goes, "Oh, I guess I never thought of it that much." And he goes, "Don't. You'll save yourself a great deal of trouble and others a great deal of unhappiness." And I was like, I actually don't know what the fuck he means by that. Like, is that meant to be like some sort of like belittling, like insult, or is that like a backhanded compliment? I had no fucking idea what he was like getting at when he was talking to her in those terms. But yeah, he just all around very ominous dude, very emo.
Very emo.
So like he doesn't know what his mother did
True.
to his wife, but he knows that he certainly benefits from it, and he doesn't seem to be fully interested in like interrogating like how this happened, why this happened. He just knows that he appreciates that, and it's through that I think he's learned that he projects a great deal upon women, like his own insecurities and his own feelings. Not that in such a way that he has gained like mindfulness where he wants to correct it, but like a way that, in a sense, that he knows that he does this thing, but he's just going to keep doing it. And so that's kind of like what he's doing to our main character, where he's kind of like saying like, "Oh, you're so nice and innocent and great. But that's, as much as I like that, that's also annoying, and I don't like that, and you should go away. But you're cool, I guess." He's like just like a very like impossible person to be around. And so that's kind of like what we're putting down, because again, this is kind of like critiquing capitalism in all its forms, and part of that is a critique of patriarchy, right? Where we have to control a woman, his wife, right? The paralyzed, the zombified wife, right? She can't express her sexuality, she can't express any agency, so we have to zombify her, right? And then it's like, well, we bring on this nurse character, right? And it's like we have to either run her off or stop her from anything that she wants to do, because she sees this other woman in trouble and she tries to support her and show solidarity. And then it's like, well, the mother, it's like, well, she's cool and all, and she's cool so long as she finds a way to perpetuate the structure of which we all live. And the moment that she doesn't, well, she's crazy. So that's kind of like what's going on here. It is kind of like commenting on gender in this way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kept going back and forth. I'm like, is this like just blatant like 1940s sexism that's normalized at the time, or is this like in a roundabout way? No, it's actually like a very feminist, self-aware film. I was like, I don't know. It's kind of either way. I'm not casting moral judgment. Either way, I was just kind of enjoying it. I wouldn't. Yeah,
I wouldn't call it feminist per se, but it is like
kind of acknowledging.
Yeah, so it's like
insecurity.
It's kind of like, it's not strictly feminist because I do think it is operating in this lens of like women in peril, you know, and like
damsel in distress.
Very much in like it does definitely knows that it's like trying to appeal to people who are titillated or aghast or, you know, drawn by some way about like the white slavery motif, specifically like when it comes to white women. And so in that sense, I would not call it like particularly like woke or anything like that. But I do think it is conscious of like issues of gender relations, and in that sense, we can like read like what may be there, what may not be there, and that's kind of like what makes it interesting art in a way.
Yeah.
Like what were the limitations of the time, where could it have gone, what could it mean, you know, so like it's interesting in that sense.
Yeah, that's what I ended up enjoying so much about it. That's what I mean, like not even casting moral judgment, but just in a very interesting way of like, was it self-aware? What I don't, it's cool. But yeah, because even I laughed so much at that ending scene where like she's like Betsy, she has a line where oh, she's, you know, Mrs. Holland, because I think I don't even think she has a first name. I think it's just Mrs. Holland. She I need to restore. I love him, but I need to restore his wife to make him happy. But so it's all about like what makes him happy, but also he's aware that he enjoys that his wife is just like a zombie, and you know, he's like, you know, I like that she doesn't get too mouthy at the dinner table. She just sits there and she doesn't talk. Am I right, fellas? Like that's basically like you know, it's like and at the end he says like, oh, I want you to leave Betsy because I fear of myself, and that's why I want you to go. Like it's in a roundabout like way, like in the context of the story, it is kind of sweet, but just as those words are being spoken on paper, it sounds like a 14-year-old in middle school being like, I'm just too bad for you, you know, like it. Well, but yeah, it kind of works, like given the context.
Movie is not saying that he's right. The movie is saying that he's wrong. You know, it's saying that like, yeah, he sucks. Right, and the fact that he likes his wife being this way should be a massive red flag to her. Doesn't necessarily mean that she should stop doing what she wants to do, which is like help her patient. But it is saying that like, hey, maybe don't trust him. You know, maybe don't go on with him. Right, like it's the movie is saying, the movie does not agree. Like the movie's juxtaposing his position of, you know, I like you, but I also hate you, and therefore you should go. It's like juxtaposing that with it's, where am I going with this? It's juxtaposing that with I think that like it's positioned with the mother, you know, in some ways.
Sure.
Where it's like the mother is like, no, stay, we love you, you're the most important person here, you know, but she has her own like ulterior motive. But yeah, no, it's not saying what the husband is saying is right, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's what makes it very interesting. In like a roundabout way. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I really like that the ending had that moment for Wesley where at the end he was like kind of the one that cared about her like on a more human level. So because he was basically But Paul in the end wanted to basically just keep her as is, as like a zombie, and he was just like, no, you got to let her go. When they were trying to drag her back to the drum circle tribe area, Wesley was the one like, no, like you got to let her go. And I guess like, you know, laid arrest, or, you know, at least I guess that's the implication. And then when he takes the arrow to her and then brings her into the sea. What do we think of like their Haitians, or like the island people? Like, are they just meant to be like a nefarious tribe, or do you think they're just kind of like mutual?
I mean, they're the ones who work on the sugar plantation. So I totally forgot this isn't set in Haiti, right? It's Saint Sebastian.
Or Saint Sebastian,
yeah.
Yeah, it's the fictional island of Saint Sebastian, but it's meant to be legible as Haiti, basically.
Like, do you think
like they're just the workers? They just work at the sugar plantation.
Yeah, they work at the sugar plantation, or like in and around the sugar plantation. All of the black people in the movie are the descendants of slaves that were owned by the family that owned the plantation. Basically, is what the movie is.
Dan, like what was it Mr. Holland? Like his family brought the slave owners. They were slave owners.
Right. No, that I understood.
So like even though like there's probably no more slavery, like nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're all
It's a woke movie.
It's a woke movie. Yeah.
Slavery bad. Woke.
Slavery bad. Yeah. No. So like.
Oh God!
They're
wait a minute.
definitely
I just got the notification.
To, like,
we've been kicked off of YouTube.
They're definitely contributing to like a sense of like dread, of like ominousness, as you guys have like underlined. Actually, what's noteworthy for this period is this film is like considered like fairly well researched into like voodoo practices and like voodoo as a religion, especially when contrasted with like the white zombie, for example. So it's not considered as like exploitative and you know, sensationalist in that regard, because it's like well researched in a way of like what voodoo practices are actually like, you know, at a home for what chants they sing, how the rituals look like, etc. And so it is interesting in that respect that it went to that level of regard and rigor, you know, to portray a certain thing, which it is capitalizing on in a sensationalist way, because again, it wants to appeal to like your generic American audience and be like, that's crazy and spooky. I never would have thought that, and titillate and shock people in that way. In terms of the treatment of black people, I do think that it is saying something about co-option while also like doing it in its own way. So perhaps the message is cross purpose in a sense. I think that it's take on Haitians as a whole is imperfect, though of its time, and perhaps maybe even more sophisticated compared to others of its time, but still of its time and with its limitations.
Right. Oh no, for sure. Like even the main the maid character, who was pretty prominent, I forget her name, but even like she's the one that encourages Betsy to take Miss Holland to the tribe, to like the little voodoo drum circle. And especially around the second time, I don't even think like she even really had necessarily any nefarious intentions. I don't think, it didn't seem to be like there was any nefarious intentions. She just was like, yeah, bring them to the tribe. They'll cure her. or so.
Yeah. No, I don't think there was either. No, because it's kind of like she was like, "Here's a possible solution," and then they go and do it. And then when the wife is brought before the ritual, those performing the ritual, they're like, "Oh, zombie," which triggers in them to go, "Oh, we have to go and do something about this," implying that they didn't think of her in one way, and now because she presented herself before this ritual and didn't work, they now think of her as another way. And so it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
The maid, she may not have been aware that the mother had done something in particular to cause the wife to be a certain way. She might have she probably just earnestly thought she was like sick of another kind, sick of another nature.
Right.
And was like giving her 2 cents.
That she had contacted a fever that like messed up her spine or something.
Yeah, that's at least that's the official story. Yeah.
Yeah. So I took it that the maid Alma, like that she just was like, oh yeah, that like she believed it, like she had no reason to believe otherwise. So she just had her like, hey,
her
like,
beliefs transcend biomedicine of the time, right? Because that's like the whole point of the exchange, where she's like, oh yeah, there's your doctor, and then there's like our doctor, right?
It's a
so there's like a doctor of the spirit, So it's like, yeah, there's what your doctor says, but there's what my doctor says, and we should bring her to my doctor,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's woo woo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to be savages.
No. I know. I was like, I started the movie and I was like, oh boy, movie in the 40s. We're going to an island with oh boy. She's like sitting on the horse and buggy, and I'm like, oh no, is he gonna start going zippity doo dah, zippity? Like, oh boy, we're about to get the most racist shit. Am I gonna start to see some crows talking?
Oh my god.
But no, yeah, it was very, like, again, I think it was very sophisticated, and I was genuinely interested in all the dynamics. And by the end, like, because I'm stupid, I was just like, what's the mother doing here? And then, like, by the end, I was like, well, this just none of this makes sense. And then by the end, it was revealed that the mother, I was like, oh my god, like, that's crazy. Like, I never see any of that shit coming. I'm like, and the mother's like, I love that she explains it all. And like, it just might as well have been like, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids, but and your stupid dog. But no, it was good. It was really, really good. And again, I really thought that just bringing her into the ocean was so like old classic Hollywood tragic and like beautiful, like bittersweet. I really thought it was pretty beautiful in that sense. And even go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, because you mentioned the ending. I'm like, did every movie back then end with the end? Like in that font?
Yeah, basically.
If they were classy, yes. Damn it.
It's just funny to me.
Even when the zombie was like kind of following Wesley and as he just kind of went into the ocean, was like, oh no, it's the 40s, no one knows how to swim, I'm gonna drown in 2 feet of water, but like I don't care. But like even the zombie, like it almost felt like the zombie wasn't like trying to kill them or anything. It almost felt like the zombie was trying to like, again, it all like had like these like religious undertones, where like the zombie was trying to just retrieve the body as like one of their own. Like it didn't seem like it was a nefarious thing, but like Wesley kind of either thought he was evil or wanted the body. Like, no, I care about her, this is mine. I don't know, I found that so like, well, so like, Dan, old school, like Hollywood beautiful, like tragic.
Well, so it's the original zombie, where you're kind of just like a mindless being to be controlled. Like the context to me is like, and this is going back to like the original Haitian voodoo zombie, like from folklore. Like it's kind of like think about it, like your worst fear being, like Harrington talked about, like it's slavery, it's antithetical to like human freedom. And so it's like, what would be the ultimate worker for like a master, a zombie? Like you can just give them simple commands, simple tasks, and they'll do it. They won't complain. You don't have to feed them. They're just all they do is work for you, right? And it's kind of like, it ties into like that fear, and like, but also that reality that existed for slaves. And that's what the zombie is, right? It's like a perfect mindless drone. And that's what that zombie was, like you just tell him what to do and he does it.
Yeah. So they sent Terra 4. That's the black zombie. They sent him after her because they were like, oh, she might be a zombie, so we have to bring her back so we can complete whatever ritual we need to do concerning her. That's why he's after her, basically. That's why they're so obsessed with her, and they keep doing different like voodoo rituals around like retrieving her, compelling her to come to them. Like unknowing of that's what's happening. Well, he's a little bit conscious of it, but not to the full extent. Wesley is just kind of like, no, it's true. The way my mother has described this thing, this woman I love is suffering, and so I need to like free her. And so kind of like what's happening in that moment is it's kind of like saying that this person who is a perpetuator of the system in which the wife is suffering is bringing it to its logical conclusion of like, well, if I can't control you, then I have to annihilate you, essentially. Whereas by bringing out the Terra 4, that would have represented a possible path of like not necessarily freedom, but like existing in at least a more active state. Just different examples of like repression, but also different ways of like. So like the third act is all about like centering like white anxieties around how this system functions, which is like where it like parts from its more like, I guess you could say in our parlance like woke sensibilities, where it's like all about like, well, the white people are kind of scared, right? Right. And so that's where it's kind of like, it's like, what's good with this traumatized white woman?
Everyone has their own thing that they want for her at the end.
Yes, exactly. So it's about her rather than as like a pivot away from like it being about instead the black religious populace, which is where like the film was initially building towards. And so so it's like it's like an interesting like interchange there towards the end of the film, but one that I think it achieves some poignancy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I really especially by the end it really won me over. Only other real thing I had in my notes, do we think the main zombie guy, well, you think they did like some prosthetics on his face?
Yeah, no, you can tell when you look at his face. There's like
a mask
some degree of like there's some degree of prosthetics over like the upper part of his face, with the way that he is.
Yeah, no, it was effective. I mean, the shot in when they first encounter him in the cornfield. I mean, like, I've seen like people literally resurrected and all CGI. Like, I'm not, but like just seeing that it was a striking image, of him in the cornfield, really like good. That very very striking.
No, and, it's very effective.
And even
no, go ahead.
Yeah, just the only other thing, even in the because I was like trying to pay attention to I just had no frame of reference for 40s movies, so just trying to look at like just some of the filmmaking techniques. Obviously, like just the cross dissolves transition stuck out a lot, which I think is just common for back then. Mm-hmm. Some of the editing was a little choppy in the like the castle scene specifically in the beginning, which was interesting just to notice, like cutting film, I guess, like where some takes felt like they were like starting just a few hairs of a second before they like were actually starting. But then when they were doing the drum circle thing, when they first go to the camp, which was meant to be like the big set piece kind of thing, there was like a pan shot across the kind of like overhead of the people all dancing, and I was like, oh, that that is cinematic. Damn it, that is innovative. I really liked it.
I mean, he uses the little castle scene was like so, and this is part of the it's kind of the reason this movie is well received. A great use of shadows. I really like the way the effect the movie got of when she's taking Holland to the what is it? What do they call it? The home what do they call it?
The home fort.
The home fort. Yeah. You get that like since she has like the white gown, you get this nice like it kind of really pops against like everything else because it's it's a black and white movie, sure, but it's night and she's just in this nice like white like pristine gown and it works really well. You get these really effective shadow work. There's a shot of like the staircase up to like, in the castle thing that I thought was really, really effective. Use of shadows. I really enjoyed the cinematography on this one.
Yeah, that's like the virtue of black and white cinematography, which is it's meant to like accentuate shadow work. Like shadows employed as like a form of like visual storytelling. For me personally, I loved all of the music in this film. So like I really loved both the song that they play at the club when they go to the club like earlier on in the film that's like meant to be like expository, and I also really love the kind of like chant that they do when they go to the home fort. I think those are both like really effective at what they're set out to do, and just like very like entrancing. Like I was personally very enchanted by like listening to all of that. So I think that's very interesting. I also really like the role played by the Carrefour, which is that black zombie that we keep noting. So apparently in like Haitian folklore, they are meant to represent like a guardian of the paths. Like they're the person who decides like what direction that you go, and so that's why he's like kind of like both the literal kind of like gatekeeper of those who are attempting to like enter the home fort, right? He's kind of like, you can go, you cannot go. Like we see like earlier in the film when Betsy is bringing the wife to the home fort to be, quote unquote cured. And then also he's kind of like the gatekeeper of the wife's fate, which is like why he is pursuing her. Because it's kind of like, no, we need to bring you to do whatever we need to do as like how zombies should be treated, and it's like Wesley's like saying no, that's like over her own fate. So like I like the cinematography, the music, and a lot of like the sense of like atmosphere, like what really reigns supreme for me with this film and why I think it's as good as it is.
Yeah, I dig it.
No, yeah, I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed experiencing something from the 40s. If I was Betsy, I would 100% fall into the arms of Wesley, because I thought he was just such a sly devil. He's sitting there at the I laughed so much at this movie. Not like at it, but like when he goes, another rum, Mr. Wesley? Ah, yes, I have to entertain a woman. Of course I'll need another one. It's like, damn it, you sly bastard. See, if I was a woman, that's all. Instead, Betsy's like the type of like, she like looks to Paul and is like, I can fix him. That's her thing.
I did laugh at like, kind of like, damn, like, okay, I had a good laugh at when they're using the effigy to like summon her. They just close the gate.
I know. I'm more sexist because I'm like making all the sexist jokes in my head. Like, oh, this is the 40s.
But it's just so funny to me how it's like, we're going to use this ancient magic to summon her. Nope, sorry, we can't get around the gate. Foiled by technology again.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so funny. Like, it was just like effective. Like, it's just like, I guess that's it.
Yeah, it is like funny how in the third act, like everyone at the home fort is like throwing spaghetti at the wall in terms of like what ritual will finally get her out of that fucking house. You know, it's like
They send the guy,
it's
so
like,
the mom just goes.
oh, we're
the
gonna do the one where we like pull the doll forward. Shit, that fucking gate. It's like we're gonna do the one where like yeah.
They stop the, I forget his name, the zombie. Like the mom just tells him, "No, go away," and he just leaves.
He's like, oh.
It's like
well,
Remington's like they're just like, oh god damn it, none of her rituals were working. What do we do? What do we do?
Yeah,
I did, and I hate myself so much because again, like I'm like, oh, this is the 40. I'm already like prejudging it. I'm like, it's gonna be sexist and racist. And meanwhile, it's like I'm the one in my head making all the jokes, like preemptively.
Yeah, it's like they haven't said the N word once. Am I the racist?
That they're more woke. Like the 40s is more woke. Like in the castle when like she comes up and Betsy screams when she just like kind of walks up to her for the first time. And in my head, I'm like, oh god, it's not a zombie, it's a white woman. Oh my god, nothing scarier. Like they didn't even put on makeup on her, didn't even need to. It's oh my god, it's a white woman, terrifying. But no, but yeah, it was genuinely like in a way, it was pretty profound. So no, I really like it. Again, I was really getting like Get Out vibes. I was like thinking, I know it's not like I've never seen Breakfast at Tiffany's, but I was like, was this? I wonder if Jordan Peele ever cited this movie as did you guys? I was like thinking, I was really thinking Get Out for a lot of this movie in a lot of ways. But
I don't know if I was explicitly reminded of Get Out when I saw this. I you know to me this is very much
different.
like any. Well, it's reminiscent of like any haunted mansion type movie ever, right? It's kind of like
sure,
characters go some specific location they're not familiar with, that they're like stuck in for the duration of the movie, and then like horrific shit happens to them throughout the course of the movie. Like that's kind of like the vibe. And there's maybe like a central mystery that they're exploring that keeps you like focused. And so in that sense, it's kind of like a lot like many movies that we have seen. And Get Out does follow in that tradition where it's kind of like, we are going away to the parents of my girlfriend's house, and so I'm there, and there's like some fucked up shit that happened along the way of me getting there. There's some fucked up shit that's happening while I am there, and they're weird, and you know, the fallout thereupon, right? So it is following in those footsteps. But I was not personally reminded of Get Out particularly, but maybe there's something there to it. I don't know, Eugene.
Sorry, what was that last part?
Did you see any comparisons to anything, or?
Not really. I mean, like, not directly. Again, like, to me, it's more of like a contrast versus like what I know as zombies now. You know, like what zombies became. That's kind of where I approached it from. Just, you know, like, no, not really.
Yeah, what do you see that, Gene, in terms of like the genre?
Wait, what do you mean?
Go into that.
Wait, what, like a zombie genre?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, like, it's a zombie. I don't know. Is it a zombie movie? Would you call it a zombie movie?
Well, yeah,
it is a zombie movie.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, again, like, we know when you think zombie, we think, okay, like, it's going to be like zombies are the enemies, right? They're eating you, you're running from them. This has none of that. And I just find that very interesting. Because, again, like, this is what the original. That's why, I guess I like you were stating, like you said earlier, how it's similar to, I guess, White Zombie would be like what people would think of it in the zeitgeist, right? You're comparing it to that. I'm not sure whether I actually read that the White Zombie had like a sequel. So to me, it's just more of like that. Like, I'm just comparing it to where we ended up with zombies versus how it started, right? And I just found that very fascinating, where the zombies are just like the one prominent zombie is like a tool, right? You have the two of them, right? One's like a tool, and one's like the mystery, I guess, of like, why is she like this? And they don't even call her a zombie like right away, right? They call her zombie like,
yeah.
Is it the It's the at the ritual where they first say she's a zombie, right? I don't think the word comes up before that, does it? I don't remember.
I think that's where it comes up. Yeah. So basically, like, it's less mimetic at this point, right? So
yes.
The conventions of the genre are less established, and so it's less mimetic in that sense. Whereas like subsequent iterations, you know, there are more conventions that people are drawing upon and referencing in their own right. And so some of that's diluted, not necessarily for the work, right? Like I would still say that like Night of the Living Dead's a pretty good movie, right? Right, but like there are some references being going on here. So what's happening is that like here zombie as metaphor, it is part of what it's doing, but it's not like on the surface level like the most important part of what's happening, right? Like the zombie is a metaphor for like what the experience of slavery is like, but again, like you could watch the movie and not necessarily be cognizant of it and still come away enjoying yourself, whereas like they're taking this idea of like zombie as metaphor as time goes on and it is growing, where it's like, okay, you get to Night of the Living Dead, and it's like zombie is metaphor for like the Cold War, and you get Dawn of the Living Dead, and it's like zombie is metaphor for like consumerism. Right? And then you get to like 28 years later nowadays, and it's like zombie is metaphor for like COVID and like like right wing extremism, etc. It's all of these things, and so it just gets more expansive, more direct, more mimetic.
Yeah, no, and that certainly exists like in the movie you're saying, like, and like I talked about before, how it ties into like the very idea behind a folklore zombie. And I actually found it very interesting how you were talking about the reporter who went, and she's like, oh yeah, like I saw all these like workers who were just kind of like they would get high to probably just get through the day. And I, as you mentioned, I read about it real quick, how I guess a lot of them would have like lost like they kind of like lost their speech, and they were kind of just like zombies, and they could still follow basic instructions. And I guess she experienced that in real life, and that was on the zeitgeist at the time, right? And like you said, that's where the name of the movie comes from that article. So it's really interesting to me to see that, right? And kind of versus now, it's like, although the zombies are still like a metaphor for something, they're still very much like the present danger. Like in movie facts, it's like, okay, like the protagonist is like, I need to not get killed by this zombie, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist in this movie.
Right.
It's just it's very different, but I find that very fascinating, because you can still use a zombie as a metaphor for something without it being like the present danger, right? There's still you still get a fun mystery. You still get very you get a very interesting performance out of I forget his name, but the big voodoo zombie, and and he's still like, they don't even tell you like why he's a zombie. Like he I guess like. And like you don't know if he's like, I guess he would be alive and dead, but you don't know why he's dead. You don't know if they killed him just to revive him. Like you don't know what he's just they just use him as a lackey, and maybe he's like a protector. I guess you could say maybe he's like meant to be a protector spirit.
Yeah, he's the guardian.
Yeah, he's meant to represent the guardian.
I like that. Yeah.
So he protects the home for, and he also, in a sense, thematically, metaphorically, is like the guardian, the like gatekeeper of like the path of like various characters. So
that's kind of where like that's really where all my comparisons came. Like just like comparing it to what I know as zombies now and what I have known as zombies forever, right?
Right. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all my notes. I thought it was really good, really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting movie. Would you guys feel like you would want to see more older films after seeing this?
Yeah, I'm always down for older films. Like, don't feel like you have to just box yourself into that. But I'm, and like I think Dan said, so like, I'm open to anything. That's kind of the point of this show, right? Let's watch things that you find interesting or things you've just never seen before. Like to me, it's like it's either, hey, this is a movie I've never seen before. I would love to see it and to watch it, and then what you guys think about it. Or like you have done before. I mean, like, hey, here's a movie that's very near dear to my heart. What was it? Fritz the Cat, or just like a movie that I have seen before. I found it very interesting. It's thematically appropriate. Let's watch that. Like I love the way you framed the Donner cut. That was really fun. Where it's like, oh, did you guys know there is there was another time where there was a Superman like movie that came out
Yeah.
due to fan demand. That was really I didn't know about that. So yeah, like, don't think that you're gonna box yourself in.
But yeah, would this drive you to want to see more movies from like the first half of the 20th century?
I mean, yeah, because I'm not well versed in those whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, you know, as a history lover and nerd like you are, you know, it's fun to see like where everything came from, right?
Yeah. So like 40s films that I could recommend, like that I've
Even
seen.
50s things, 60s, and there's a lot of stuff I've wanted to watch that I've never watched, obviously. So
Let's see. Go see. Well, if you haven't seen Citizen Kane, go see Citizen Kane. There's The Wolfman. There's Double Indemnity.
yeah,
Hitchcock's Rope. That's a really good 40s film that I could recommend.
what's
What's another one
what is
that I
it?
could?
Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't know. Metropolis. I don't even know if I'm in the same.
Metropolis is from the 20s. But yes, you should go see Metropolis if you haven't seen Metropolis. Pinocchio, if you haven't seen Pinocchio, that's from the 40s. Fantasia, that's from the 40s.
I've never watched Fantasia. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I always a good place to look for those older 40s movies. HBO Max.
I want to watch.
Yeah,
Here's what I want to watch. Bridge on the River Kwai.
That's from the 50s. That's from the 50s, but yes, if you want.
No, it's from the 50s, but I've heard it's very, very like influential. You know.
Yes, I need to see that movie at some point in my life. That's a big one.
Alec Guinness is in it.
Yeah, there's the Turner Classic Movie section of HBO Max that like has a lot of those types of films that I always try to like dabble in, but yeah, I have not stuck my I just
what's the one in Dan that they have DiCaprio like reenact it in the Fun Time of Hollywood, or he was up for the role.
I know it. I know the one you're talking about in Once Upon a Time.
That's one I want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I really want to watch.
One of the
It's a Wonderful Life. You should see It's a Wonderful Life.
Never seen It's a Wonderful Life yet.
It's a 40s movie.
What's the one about the guy who's like at the concentration camp with his son, and he's like trying to hide it from his son that it's like a death camp?
Striped Pajamas? That's not.
No.
Oh, older?
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. What are you talking about?
It's Italian. Mr. Pidell had us watch it. It's the guy. He's like, is it A Beautiful Life?
What?
It's about it's basically this guy. Him and his son are like sent to like a Nazi like concentration camp, but like he doesn't want his son to know like they're at a death camp. So he's like, oh, like we're playing a game. It's a very interesting movie. Let me find the name of it. Hold on. Mr. Pidell had us watch it, and A Beautiful Life. That's what it's called.
Huh.
A Beautiful Life?
Yeah. I don't know about it.
A Beautiful Life.
Hold on, let me find it. Because there's a few movies called that.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's from the 90s, dog.
It is. Okay, yeah. Well, my brain makes it. Yeah, Life is Beautiful. Sorry, Life is Beautiful. Especially don't watch that one. Okay, my brain thinks of it as older, but yeah, it's a very interesting movie. You should watch it.
I know Life is Beautiful. That's from the 90s, dog. So all good examples, older films. We should definitely pick a silent film to watch at some point on this show. I think that would be
interesting. Yeah.
Good. Do we have any other thoughts before we go into ratings on the movie?
No, I think we pretty much summed it up. Yeah, no, it was much more fruitful than I thought it would maybe be, but I really enjoyed it.
Remington, have you watched The Great Dictator?
No, but my intention is to try to see that before the end of this year. That's been my goal.
That's a 40s movie I really want to watch.
Yes, it is. And especially since Trump, took office in the times in which we live, it's been top of mind. But I wanted to kind of earn it, and as a result, I need to find time to watch City Lights first, because The Great Dictator is like one of the reasons The Great Dictator is special is it's like one of the few times that like Charlie Chaplin did like a talkie in his career, you know what I mean? And so it's like notable that he broke his silence, so to speak, to speak out about this great like horror and injustice that was going on in the world. And so I wanted to see one of his great films, more like silent films before he did that, like City Lights. So yeah, I've seen like The Gold Rush and I've seen Modern Times, and now I want to see City Lights before I actually go and see The Great Dictator. But it's on the list. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. No. Yeah. That's all I got. Ratings.
Ratings.
I'll just go first. I don't know. It's hard for me to rate movies like this because like I kind of don't want to give it a rating just because like I appreciate it versus like okay, thinking about the weakest part for me was the story overall. Like care for the story, but I appreciated like every other aspect of the movie. Like Remington, I really love the soundtrack. I love the songs. I really love the scene where she's having lunch with Wesley, whatever, and they're playing the song, and like we're used to just like it's a song, like songs have a meaning, but like the songs like they can hear the song too. Like I love that. That was a great way to get it's diegetic. I thought that was incredible. That was really fun. Because at first I wasn't sure, like, like, can they hear the song? And like I thought it was just kind of like just for us, but then it's like, oh no, they can. Oh, it's actually important to the story. It's very important to the story, and like it's the whole point of the scene. That was really well done. Cinematography was really great. Like I guess I really appreciate the use of folklore, voodoo zombies. I guess if I have to give it a score, probably like a 4 out of 5. Like I struggle to give it a score because it's kind of like it's timeless, so it's scoreless in a way. To me, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, I follow you.
So yeah, let's say a 4 out of 5. I don't know. I give it 4 effigies out of 5.
Yeah, no, I ended up I didn't know at first how I was gonna really jive with it in the beginning. Like in the first 30 minutes, I thought maybe it was just kind of more of like, oh, this is just like some crazy like dude and like that's just sexism left and right, but it ended up being much deeper once I kind of thought of Betsy as a more audience surrogate, and then the reveal of the mother at the end and just the imagery and I was really underestimating what the 40s were capable of in terms of like themes and symbolism and imagery. I really underestimated all of that because I have such a low frame of reference for movies of this era. But no, really enjoyed it. Love the ending. Thought it was classy, old school Hollywood, poetic and beautiful. 7 out of 10. Really liked it.
Fantastic. Yeah, I gave it when I first watched it 2 years ago, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and I have since upped my score to a 4 out of 5 because I just think it's like a very like exquisite film in terms of what it sets out to do, like tonally, and presentationally. It's just like a very excellent time to watch if you want like immaculate, like horror vibes where it's like not ooga booga, but it's kind of just like it's setting a tone, it's setting a vibe, it's setting like an atmosphere, and you're just following that throughout. Like I think it's very exquisite in terms of like how it goes about that. So I would definitely recommend this movie, and I would encourage both of you to go and watch older movies. Older movies are good. Older movies are great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cinema.
All right.
Cinema. All right, Gene.
Pitch. What's your pitch?
Pitch.
You got October, buddy.
Yeah.
I do, and I guess it's kind of thematically appropriate. I'm gonna it's okay. What do you guys know about if I'm understanding it correctly, the first like serial killer in Korea? What do you guys know about that?
It was
Nothing.
me. No, I have no
You
idea.
tell me. Yeah, you tell me. It was Dan. Yeah, you tell me.
All right, so there's the I'm probably gonna the Hwasong murderer, Lee Chun-jae. He's a South Korean serial killer who committed the Hwasong serial murders. Basically, between the mid '80s to mid '90s, there was a string of murders and rapes because men only murder women for terrible reasons. And this was huge because that was like a thing that just didn't really happen in South Korea, and it was like basically anyone in South Korea knew about this, right? It actually remained unsolved for 30 years. And to my understanding, okay, if I remember, it's been a while since I read about it. He was sentenced to life in prison for killing his sister-in-law, but there wasn't any evidence for the other murders. It kind of came to light like later on, like, okay, yeah, that guy that was in prison for killing his sister-in-law was also the guy who did all these murders back in the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
So there's a movie that is, to my understanding, it's not it's not a direct, like it's based on these killings, right? I'm surprised you guys haven't. I'm surprised Remington hasn't caught on to what movie I'm leading to.
I might know.
Well, did you guys like Mickey 17?
Yeah.
Did you guys like Parasite?
Yes.
Yeah, I know
Well,
what it is.
as we all know, before that, Bong Joon-ho has had a quite long career. And in 2003, he made a movie about these killings called Memories of Murder.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
And that is what we're going to watch.
Yes,
that's on my
I
watch
know this
list.
Have you watched this, Remington?
No, I have not, but I've heard of it, and it's been on the list forever.
I check you guys' letterbox every time before I watch a movie. I especially check Remington because I'm like, this fucker has seen everything because he hasn't watched it. So I knew Dan hasn't watched it, but I was like, I gotta make sure Remington hasn't watched it. So yes, we're gonna watch Memories of Murder by Bong Joon-ho. It does star Song Kang-ho, who is in Parasite.
See the dad?
We know he's the dad.
Yeah.
It also stars Kim Song-kyung, who I don't think I've seen him in anything, but he's also just another very notable South Korean actor. They both played the detectives who were leading the investigation on the string of rapes and murders taking place in Hwasong in the late 1980s.
Great.
Nice.
This is actually so Bong Joon-ho. This is actually his second movie ever. If we don't count like his like college movies and like little short films he's done, this was his second feature film.
Yeah.
What year is it?
Yeah, I think you like Mickey 17. You're like fake.
Wait, say that again. Wait, what happened?
You didn't like Mickey 17, Dan? Fuck
No,
you.
I didn't like Mickey 17. Okay, I didn't.
Fuck you.
It's mid.
So I'm excited for this one because I've only seen like Hollywood him, right? I haven't seen like South Korean, like young, still starting out him, right? Because Snowpiercer is great. I like Parasite's great. I haven't watched Mickey 17 yet. I'll probably watch it before this, just because Mary wants to watch it as well. But I'm just familiar with like, this director who's won. He won Best Picture and Best Director, right?
Yeah.
I've only seen his works when it's like, let's give him like a ton of Hollywood money, and like, even his South Korean movie, Parasite's a very South Korean movie, but it's still like, we're gonna give him all this money. I'm interested in like, well, where did he start from, right? His second movie was a critically acclaimed movie that's regarded as one of the best movies of the 21st century. Okay, this guy's been locked in from the start. And
absolutely.
It seems like, and it's like Parasite, like any director, he's drawing from his past, he's drawing from his culture, so I'm very excited to see that. So yeah,
excited.
It's our movie.
Yeah, no, this has been on my watch list for a while. Yeah,
I'm somewhat still underversed in Korean cinema, and Memories of a Murder has been on the list for a while. So absolutely, I'm very excited to dive into this. Thank you for picking this.
Yeah, I'm not going to say this wasn't my first choice. I'm not going to say what my first choice was because I do want to save it. But
why didn't you just pick your first choice? Did one of us see it?
No, I saw on some Reddit, some Twitter thread, we were talking about movies, and someone posted some like just screen grabs of this movie, and I'm like, this looks really interesting. And like, no, like nothing spoiled, just like, oh, this looks like a beautifully shot movie. What is this? And through the comments, I found out like, oh, it's this movie. People were just kind of gassing it up. So I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, I'd rather watch this than my first choice. My first choice, I still want to watch. It's another like acclaimed movie, but different in why it's acclaimed, and that I'll put that away for rated A. And this is also this is also a little more appropriate for October, so it kind of helped.
Yeah,
Love it.
for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Patreon.com/Dan Ivy, folks. Gentlemen, where can they find you? Gene, where can they find you?
You can find me getting increasingly more annoyed on X, Twitter, J3AN865. Be warned, I retweet a lot of pro-leftist stuff. Suck my balls if you disagree. If you don't like Mamdani, then too bad.
And banned. Sorry, jackass. All right, Remington, where can they find you?
Remy?
Silence.
Increasingly more annoyed. Well, Gene, that sounds like you're ripping off my angrier every day.
I'm going to change my Twitter name to increasingly more annoyed.
I'm at angry every day on Twitter. I am also rspore on Letterboxd. You can follow me. If you want to see me also talk about movies and leftist politics, that's me.
Thank you. And banned. All right. You can follow me at DanIvy99 on Letterboxd and YouTube. I love you, Israel. I believe in one China. Thank you, Putin. Oh, say, can you
try to save trying to save us. Yeah. Dan's like, we're going to make America healthy again and great again.
That's right. Eat your beef tallow, kids. Don't, and those pesky jabs. Anyway, whatever. All right. Oh, God. The West has fallen. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We will see you next time. I never know how to do it. Play me out. Someone.
Say, can you see?
The ship is sinking. We're sinking.
We're going to play out on Patreon.
We're the band in Titanic.
Early light.
Yeah, we're the band. Thinking of